So, the newsletter. As James says, I'm Ivan, I'm the CEO and one of the 4 founders of Ometria, and I'm going to talk to you for about 20 minutes about a subject that I never ever thought that I would be talking about how to send the same message to lots of people all at the same time. And actually, for years, I've been arguing about why that's such a ridiculous idea. The whole entire purpose of Ometria until this point has been to argue that point. Actually, quick show of hands, who in the audience has seen my presentation about Jess? Anyone remember Jess? Okay, there you go. You don't have to worry about going to sleep. I have taken her out. Whole new talk entirely. But yeah, social media advertising, chat apps, push notifications. The internet has been going on for ages about how email will be replaced as the channel that you use to communicate with your customers, to drive revenue from your customer base. Email marketing is dead, shout all of the headlines. And yet, email continues to stand the test of time. We did a bit of analysis around this. First of all, we looked at the 100 or so retailers using Ometria to power their marketing. It turns out 21% of their revenue, overall online revenue, is driven by email. No other retention-focused channel even comes close. And actually, it is the single biggest channel for them overall, higher even than organic, than paid search, than all of the others. And then we looked at it from a different point of view. I don't know if any of you have seen our Ometria consumer census, the 2016 consumer census. But basically, we asked 2,000 consumers a number of questions about how they like to be communicated with by their favorite brands. And one question in particular was about the channel. So we asked, what channel would you like your favorite brands to communicate with you through? 67% said email. 12% said Facebook. All of the other channels got barely a few percentage points each. So what's clear from all of this data, from this research, is that not only can email not be ignored, terrible double negative, it must be the channel that we focus on when it comes to maximizing value from and maximizing value for our customer base. So a typical retailer at the moment will have 3 solutions in place. They may have a customer insight solution. This will typically these days be an agency that produces a report and sends it monthly, that might create CSV files of segments and send it across, might link different sources together. Many retailers won't have a customer insight solution at all, especially if they're earlier on in their journey, if they're just starting out. Then probably most retailers will have a remarketing platform, something that takes behavioral data, maybe delivers one-off emails, like a basket abandonment tool. So of course that drives up a lot of extra revenue, but typically they'll charge maybe a CPA basis, eating into the margin and the profit of that. And finally, every single retailer will have the ESP, the email service provider. Why? Because the ESP does the most important thing. It sends the email newsletters. And if you break it down to the fundamentals, it's actually those email newsletters that drive the majority of the revenue from that email channel. And so a typical retailer will find themselves with potentially a customer insight solution, quite likely a remarketing platform, but definitely an ESP. Quick show of hands, whose setup is roughly similar to what I'm talking about here? There we go. Great, lots of hands. Perfect. So we're on the same wavelength. The reason the market has grown up like this is purely because of the fundamentals. So one came first, the ESP 15 years ago, and slowly but surely new technologies have developed. So we have ended up in a situation where there are 3 disparate, disconnected systems, which often lead to duplication of work, whether that's finding data, connecting it, putting it in different places, creating campaigns, templates, and so on. But much more than just a duplication of work, it also creates an end consumer experience that is anything but unified. Now, if any of you will remember, at the very beginning, in the early days, Ometria started as a customer insight solution. So this is actually a screenshot of our website a couple of generations back, a couple of years ago. We decided to look at why it was such a challenge for retailers to understand their customers, why it was that they had to put up with manual data, non-real-time data, non-actionable data that cost them lots of money to get and yet didn't deliver any results. And so Alan, Jalal, and James and I, we set out on this mission to help retailers truly understand their customers. And we solved it. That was the very first thing that we solved. We built a platform that would integrate within a few minutes with the majority of online retail platforms, within a couple of days with all of the others, that would connect together browsing behavior, online transactions, marketing data, even offline purchases as well. Everything from Charlotte Tilbury's Selfridges counter to 140 stores of Links of London, all this customer data flowed into Ometria, gave those retailers the ability to create a true single customer view, but more importantly, gave them the ability to truly understand all of their customers. But then we stopped and we thought, well, what next? And we actually came to you and we asked, what is your number one challenge today? What is it that you really want to do right now? And you answered. You said, yes, we want to understand our customers, and now we can do that, but that hasn't really solved our problem. What we really want to do is we want to be able to use that understanding to communicate with our customers in a better way, to communicate with them in a more personalized way based on that understanding. And so we decided to rise as a challenge, as we always do, and our Chief Product Officer, Jalal, went and spoke to many of you to really understand what would your perfect solution look like, what would you want to be able to do. And our Chief Technology Officer, Dr. Alistair James, led our engineering team, who are, by the way, all here today. So do have a chat with them. It's a great opportunity to actually speak to the people who make this all happen, and they can talk about how it works. He led them to build the best possible retail marketing platform based on your input and your feedback. And suddenly, we were able to give you the ability to create lifecycle marketing journeys that weren't just a basic basket abandonment email. Lifecycle marketing journeys that took into account every single interaction that customer ever had with your brand. Lifecycle marketing journeys that weren't just done through email, but done through all channels combined, unified. I'm going to do a terrible paraphrasing of the M&S advert, but not just a welcome campaign, but an Ometria welcome campaign. From the amazing Millie Milu. Are you guys here today? Quick wave, there we go. Thank you for coming. So Millie Milu makes sure that when somebody subscribes, if they've bought before, they're treated completely differently to if they haven't. The first become ambassadors, the second are persuaded to purchase. Not just a post-purchase campaign, but an Ometria post-purchase campaign. From the amazing Lost My Name. Are you here? Quick wave. Yeah, thanks for coming. So Lost My Name take into account what has just been purchased, but then create a journey to show the people who've just bought what they can and should buy next. From welcome campaigns to basket abandonment campaigns to browse abandonment campaigns to anti-lapse campaigns, everything you can think of in terms of lifecycle marketing was suddenly possible, suddenly easy at your fingertips. And again, it wasn't just a case of creating it. Much like what Jonathan was saying, it was all about testing it as well. So A/B testing of segmentation, A/B testing of subject lines, templates, even product recommendations, all possible in just a few clicks. We even built one-click integrations with Facebook, with Instagram, with Google AdWords, allowing you to add those channels to the same journey as part of the email chain to make sure that you could target all of those customers with personalized experiences across all those channels, unified. So as we came to the end of this, we found ourselves suddenly being able to solve not one but two of those initial challenges, replace two of those solutions that we talked about at the very beginning. Not only could we, by connecting all of the data, allow retailers to answer any question they ever had about their customer in real time, just by logging in and clicking a few buttons. We made that data actionable. We made it possible to use that data to create these lifecycle marketing journeys that would create happier customers and drive measurable results. But the one thing that we left alone was the email service provider. And there was a reason for this. Most people are happy with their email service provider, we thought. Email service providers have existed for so long, and there are so many of them. We had integrations with most of the email service providers on the market, so actually it wasn't too much of a challenge. And actually we were referred regularly, customers, by email service providers because they couldn't solve the two problems at the top. They could only do what they do best. And so we thought we'd leave it alone. However, we once again asked our typical question. We came to you and we asked, what is your number one challenge now? And you answered again, yes, we understand our customers, and yes, we have amazing lifecycle marketing journeys, but actually, it turns out what we spend all day, every day doing is creating and sending newsletters. And actually, there are two main challenges with that. The first is, yes, the process is not particularly simple, but that's not really my main challenge. The main challenge is that they are not as personalized as I want them to be. But the thing is, I don't have time to make them more personalized. It's hard enough to get 3, 5, 7 a week out, week after week after week. And so, once again, we decided to address this issue. We went and we spoke to many of you. We had a look at every single ESP on the market, from the entry-level ones that all of us will have used at some point, to the really advanced, expensive enterprise solutions that are on the market now. And we analyzed what it was that was lacking, what it was that was causing these problems. We worked out what could and should be done better. We worked out what was totally missing and should have been innovated. And then we basically went and built the ability to send newsletters straight into our platform. So I want to talk to you now for the last few bits of my talk about our journey of discovery, what it was that we realized was wrong with the current process of sending email newsletters, and how we thought it should look. And to do that, I want to use an example. Let's say we are a fashion retailer, and we are launching a new knitwear range because winter is coming, and we don't want to be cold when the White Walkers arrive. So let's say you're launching a new knitwear campaign right now. Now, you might choose to send that to your entire newsletter database. Maybe you think that's the right thing to do, and that's great, and that's fine. But you might want to be able to send it to just the people who have been profiled by Ometria, and of course we've been doing that for years and years, profiled by Ometria as interested in knitwear because of their previous purchasing activity, because of their previous browsing activity. Now, we've always had the ability to create these dynamic segments based on behavioral data, transactional data, marketing data. Now we've put that same functionality into the beginning of our broadcast email tool. So you might choose to send it to those people who are interested in knitwear, but then you might choose to further segment it down. Let's choose only the ones from that segment who have been on the site recently. All of these things are as easy as the other. All of these things just take a few seconds. But the really interesting thing is that you don't have to plan ahead. You don't have to build the segments in advance, in a different tool. You don't have to ask an agency or a different person on your team to send you a report or an export. You don't have to write any SQL code. You don't need to call your ESP for help. It just all works. It's right here within a few clicks. You might say, this is not the hard part. Actually, what's really hard for us is the template. We can get the segment. It's fine. The segment's easy. Or maybe we already have Ometria. We've already been getting the segments for ages. Yes, that is very true. It turns out that actually creating the templates and then managing all the templates is by far the hardest part of this whole process of sending segmented newsletters. So that was the one that we decided to solve next. Now, let's say you do not currently have the time, the resource, to do lots and lots of different templates, but you do want to send lots of segmented newsletters. And by the way, we can help you with that as well. We've got Dwayne. If he's not here, then he's Dwayne at the back of the room. He used to build all of Burberry's emails. He now helps all of the retailers working with us develop the most amazing templates. And to be clear, templates you see behind me are ones that I did on the weekend for this talk. I know they're awful. His are much better. So let's say you don't have the time to create lots and lots of different templates, but you do want to send segmented, personalized emails. Well, we solved that problem because as soon as you start using Ometria to deliver your newsletters, the first thing that we do is we create a mega template. I've decided that will be the new technical term, by the way. I haven't told the team yet. But the mega template consists of lots of editable and toggleable regions. Each region will be different. Obviously, this is as far as I got with creating it. But of course, they'll all look different. And the point is, when you choose to deliver that message, any changes that you want to make just require you to tick and untick a few things on the left, change the text, change the images to whatever you want. And then before you send it, you can test how it will look in any of the devices that all of your consumers, your customers, will use to actually open that email. And when you have a look, you can see exactly what it comes out as. If you don't like it, then changing it is just a case of going back and ticking and unticking a few more boxes. Now, this is the first stage of personalization. This is the ability to easily create a very specific focused template. But of course, we have always talked about personalization being the key and unique one-to-one personalization. Our lifecycle marketing has always been about delivering an individual message to each person based on their behavior. So let's take this to another level. Let's say you do want to send that very segmented, very focused knitwear campaign to a specific group of people, but actually you then want to make sure that different customers see a different version of it when they receive it. So we've already segmented down, but within the segment, there are further different types of people. So let's say you want your VIP customers who spent over a certain amount of money, to see something different. In this case, we're showing them a different header image. Let's say we want someone who spends over £100 or has spent over £100 with your store to see something different, and someone who spent over £1,000 to see something else, something even more premium. Well, again, possible right here within the template editor before you have to send the email. You set it up, and then you can check, you can test. So what's happening here is I'm typing in how much that customer has spent, and it's showing what that customer would see. Different customers would see a completely different image when they actually receive it. And the point is now, you can set it up once, you can send it once to everyone, and yet the end result is a personalized experience, is the perfect message for that specific customer based on their customer data. Now, we are all retailers in the room, and of course, Ometria is a retail-focused solution. So all of these messages are going to need to have products in them, right? And the thing with including products in emails is that it's quite long. You have to choose them, you have to find them, you have to copy and paste various things like images and links and so on. So we decided to solve that part as well. We've always had product recommendations. We've been using them for our lifecycle marketing for a very long time. But it becomes even more interesting in newsletters, because actually you can now include those same product recommendations in your newsletter, which you're going to send to everyone at the same time. You can set them up to be based on browsing activity, purchase activity, cross-sell, upsell, restrict them to a category, restrict them to a price range, anything. But they're now generated at open time, and they take into account availability. So you might deliver 100,000 messages. Those messages are going to be opened at very different times. Those people will see the most relevant products for them, but we will make sure that they cannot see anything that they can't go and buy straight away. You might say, again, because you like saying we don't like using product recommendations. We hear that quite a lot. That's totally fair enough. We know how we like to visually merchandise our emails. We have the creative vision. We want to do it our own way. So we realized that that was still a challenge, because actually you still then have to go and find the images and copy them in, paste them in, and so on. So we decided to solve that part as the final step. We have all of the product information. Again, we've always had it. That was the point of our customer insight solution. We have the images, the URLs, the prices, everything you can think of. So we decided to build a little tool that lets you choose how many products you want to add. These are horrible products. These are Magento 1.6 demo site products. So I apologize. Couldn't find anything else. You choose how many products you want to add them from within our tool straight away, find them right here, move them around, add some more, remove some, and when you're happy with the ones that are in there, definitely not those ones, you can once again check how it's going to look on all the devices and send them. You never have to leave the platform, you never have to go somewhere else. No hassle, no wasting time, most importantly, no mistakes. Because that's really where we see the future of the newsletter going. The future of the newsletter is not going to look any different to what it looks now. The big difference, the big transition is you're going to know what you want to do. You're going to have a piece of technology that takes away all of the hassle that you're used to right now. And that is our mission. We are not an ESP. We've never been an ESP, and even though we now have all of this functionality, we're still not an ESP. Our mission is to be the brain that powers all communication between retailers and their customers. Our mission is to take all that hassle away. You have your creative vision, but to execute on that vision, you have to connect data. You have to create a personalization strategy. You have to act on that strategy over and over and over to put it into practice. Those things, they're just steps to get to your end goal. Our job is to take those steps away, to take that hassle away, to leave you with the ability to communicate with your customers in the way that you and in the way that they want. Because customer data is not in itself useful. Customer data is only useful if it sits in the hands of the people who are taking action on it all day, every day, if it sits in your hands. And customer data is only useful if it takes work away from you, not if it gives you more work to do. So that is why we ended up building the world's only unified customer insight and cross-channel marketing platform that is built exclusively for retail marketers. That is why we've been able to drive clear, tangible increases in revenue, tangible increases in repeat purchase rate, and clear measurable ROI for all of the retailers that we work with. But most importantly, we've been able to do it without giving them any more work to do. And we've been able to give them happier customers along the way. And I want to end just by saying thank you. Thank you to all of you for coming. Thank you to all of our customers, because genuinely everything we've built has come from your minds. We have built something to solve your problems. We would not be here without you. And a really, really special thank you to those of you who have been kind enough to come up on stage and share your journeys with us today. So thank you all for listening.